Cook County prosecutors abruptly and bewilderingly drop all charges against hate crime hoaxer Jussie Smollett, who now, like OJ, will no doubt go on the hunt for the real attackers. We analyze how this miscarriage of justice happened. Then, speaking of fakers, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez encourages her Democrat colleagues not to vote for the Green New Deal. And finally, David Brooks draws a moral equivalence between Russia hoaxers and the Russia hoaxed in the New York Times. I'm Michael Knowles, and this is The Michael Knowles Show. The hoaxes strike back today. Jussie Smollett, the Green New Deal, even Russia, they're all striking back. Fantasy is trying to reassert itself against reality. Let's see how that works. But first, let's make a little money, honey, with Mint Mobile. There are a lot of things in life that aren't right. Carpet in showers? Eating dip with your fingers? Paying too much for your phone bill. Those things are not right at all. Thanks to Mint Mobile, you don't have to overpay for wireless anymore. With Mint Mobile, you can cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month. They've reimagined wireless, making it easy and online only, which means they can pass the savings on directly to you. You can save over $1,000 a year with Mint Mobile without sacrificing quality service. $15 a month means $15 a month. How do they do it? It's because right now you are overpaying for unlimited internet and data and all that you're never going to use, and they are gouging you for this, to say nothing of all those hidden fees. With Mint Mobile, you choose between plans that have 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes of 4G LTE data, and you stop paying for unlimited data you'll never use. If you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. Ditch your old wireless bill. Start paying a fraction without sacrificing quality service with Mint Mobile. Get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month. Get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/Knowles, Knowles. That's mintmobile.com/Knowles, Knowles. Cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month and get free shipping on your Mint Mobile plan at mintmobile.com/Knowles. The empire strikes back. The hoaxers strike back. Jussie Smollett walks free. A true miscarriage of justice. I got to tell you something, folks. I'm starting to have a little hunch that maybe Chicago is corrupt. I don't want to be telling tales out of school. I don't want to be running my mouth if that isn't true, but I don't know what it is. Something about Chicago just doesn't seem quite right. And so now Cook County prosecutors over there have dropped all charges against friend of the Obamas, Jussie Smollett. Guy who smiles in photos with the Obamas, Jussie Smollett, who also come from Chicago. Now, what are the terms of this? He has to surrender his bond. So when he was arrested, he posts $10,000 bond, and he has to do 16 hours of community service. So less than 1 day of community service, and he surrenders his bond, and then he goes free. This is what the state attorney said. Quote, "We looked at all the facts and circumstances of the case, the resources that we have, our priority of addressing violent crime, Smollett's criminal background, his lack of criminal background. He didn't have any felonies or violent felonies in his background. Based on all those facts and circumstances, we felt that..."
Grateful. I want you to know that not for a moment was it in vain. I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time. Honestly, one of the worst of my entire life. But I am a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't. So I want to thank my legal counsel from the bottom of my heart. And I would also like to thank the state of Illinois for attempting to do what's right. Now, I'd like nothing more than to just get back to work and move on with my life. But make no mistakes, I will always continue to fight for the justice, equality, and betterment of marginalized people everywhere. So again, thank you for all the support. Thank you for faith, and thank you to God. Bless y'all. Thank you very much.
Where to begin? He says he's been truthful since day one of this whole ordeal. If he's been truthful, Why does he have to surrender his $10,000 bond and do community service? If he's done nothing wrong, why does he still have to be punished? I mean, look, there are so many reasons here why it's obvious that the guy did it, but just in the first place, if he actually were innocent, if he actually were innocent, you wouldn't have signed checks from him paying off the people who attacked him. You wouldn't have him getting caught in obvious lies. You wouldn't have had any of this. But even if that were let's say he actually were innocent, then he would go out there and say, this is a miscarriage of justice. I'm not surrendering my $10,000 bond. I'm not doing community service because I did nothing wrong. And I'm going to fight hard. Of course, he doesn't do that, because this was a crooked deal. And he got let off the hook because he's a famous rich guy, because Chicago is super duper corrupt, and because he plays the racial and sexual victim. And so he gets let off the hook. And it's just the arrogance. It's just the fact, I guess he's pretty good on that show, Empire, but he's giving a terrible performance here, and he gave a terrible performance on TV when he was first being interviewed about the attack. He says, I would never do this. I would not be my mother's son. Well, I don't know. I guess it's a wise man knows his own parents or something, because this guy obviously did it. And then I would never let the movement down like that. What movement? What movement are you letting, I don't even know. I don't know, because he plays the victim as a gay guy. He plays the victim as a black guy. He plays the victim probably as an actor, the most oppressed group of people of all. And yet he did it. He's obviously guilty. And what's so awful about this is the state attorney's office, while forcing him to take this punishment, is in a sense forcing him to acknowledge guilt. But they're not explicitly forcing him to acknowledge guilt. So he gets to go out there and say, I'm perfectly innocent. Shh, here's my $10,000. Yeah, I'll do community service for some corrupt organization. But okay, there you go. There you go. Doesn't even have to acknowledge it. You know this is bad because even left-wing former chief of staff to Barack Obama, mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, is coming out strong against these actions.
Where is the accountability in the system? You cannot have, because of a person's position, one set of rules apply to them and another set of rules apply to everybody else. In another way, you're seeing this play out in the universities, where people pay extra to get their kids a special position in universities. Now you have a person, because of their position and background, who's getting treated in a way that nobody else would ever, sorry about that, don't get near, I'm doing near my sermon here, that would ever get close to this type of treatment.
He makes a good point, but what he's doing is relating this to the injustice in that university scandal, saying there's one set of rules for rich, famous people, and there's another set of rules for everybody else. But you even see this in the relation to the Russia hoax, because the hoaxers are unrepentant. This is the problem. This is why conservatives, once we finish celebrating that this 2-year narrative from Democrats completely fell apart over the weekend, now we're a little bit angry, because you've got people who have been pushing this lie for 2 years. They're unrepentant. Say, no, never mind, la, 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 don't care about reality, la, 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 I didn't do it, I would never do this, la, la, 2 giant Nigerian anti-black racists that I'm friends with and that I paid thousands of dollars to attack me because I'm a black gay guy, la, 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 la. That's what they're doing. It's Russian collusion all over again. And the question is, how is this going to be remembered? At least Rahm Emanuel comes out there. At least Rahm Emanuel says this is a miscarriage of justice. But how is already this is being spun by CNN, by people who watch CNN, which I guess is just sort of people walking through airports, but by people who read the New York Times, by people who pay attention to the mainstream media, by people who are listening to gossip mills on social media. They're saying, gosh, well, I guess Jussie didn't do it. They let him off the hook. I guess he didn't do it. Even Wolf Blitzer on CNN is saying, well, come on. Maybe he didn't do it. And Rahm Emanuel goes on CNN just so that no one thinks he's mincing words, and lays it out in excellent detail.
Let me ask you this, Mayor. Was the full picture painted? Was the full picture painted by the evidence perhaps not as compelling as what was presented to the grand jury?
It was compelling enough. Well, wait a second. The evidence presented to the grand jury is what brought the charges.
But did new questions arise in the subsequent weeks from more evidence that might be out there.
That's not what the state's attorney just said today. They said, in fact, the police did a good job and the evidence holds up, and he actually did commit the hoax. They're saying $10,000 and 2 days of community service is good enough. And I don't believe, not only is it not good enough, especially when he's walking around thinking that he is actually innocent, not guilty, and B, he's innocent not only legally and a criminal justice sense, he is also guilty, in my view, of a moral crime, which is to use the hate crimes to advance his own career for selfish reasons. And that, to me, is where there's a moral violation and a rip, because he went out and spoke on ABC to the country as an African-American and a gay man about being a victim of a crime. And then what comes forward, and what we actually now know to be the case, and even the state's attorney today acknowledged, is the fact that that was all a hoax.
He says it very well. Rahm Emanuel, a smart guy. He's a partisan. He's a Democrat. He is what he is. But he's making a clear point here. And so you have to ask yourself, why is Rahm doing this? I mean, Rahm is as much a party man as anybody else. He worked for the Clintons. He worked for Obama. He's the mayor of Chicago, the most corrupt Democrat city in the country. So why is he coming out so strongly against this intersectional example of politics? Why is he coming out so strongly against this hoax? He's doing it because it's so absurd. He's doing it because it's indefensible. If it were defensible and it would help him, he would probably defend it. But it's indefensible. It's pure corruption. And Rahm Emanuel doesn't want to be lumped in with this. If the Cook County prosecutors want to debase themselves, I mean, I don't know if it's possible even to do that to people who are so degraded as Cook County prosecutors. But he doesn't want to be lumped in with them. He has national ambitions. This guy wants to run for president. He doesn't want to be a part of this. Even the Chicago Tribune says that this is indefensible. They write, quote, "It's an indefensible decision, a deal hashed out in secret with, this is outrageous, Smollett not even required to take ownership of his apparent hoax." It is outrageous. We know that. But why else? Why else are these people coming out against it? Why else is maybe this not over? You've got the Empire actor strikes back. You've got the fantasy striking back against reality. But Jussie Smollett might still face federal charges. Because actually, the more serious crime than faking this 3 a.m. during a polar vortex, carrying a Subway salad, getting attacked by anti-black Nigerians wearing MAGA hats or whatever nonsense he pretended happened, hoax. More egregious than that is that he sent a hate letter to himself and reported this as a hate crime and as a threat. That's a federal matter. That's not up to Cook County prosecutors. That's not up to Chicago. That's not up to whatever corrupt machine Jussie Smollett has access to. That's up to the feds. Something tells me that the federal government is not going to take too kindly to this. They might take a harsher approach than these crooked prosecutors. Something tells me Jussie Smollett, we have not heard the last of him. And so now the question is he going to go back to Empire? Empire, of course, wants him back. They've got this plausibility in defending him now. He's gotten a lot of attention. The ratings will increase, so they kind of want him back. Apparently, the cast is split on this. Half of them think that he did it, and half of them are idiots. I guess that's the breakdown. And so they're kind of split. They don't know what's going to happen. Empire would be very unwise to take this guy back. They would be wise in the short term because they'll get better ratings. They'd be very unwise in the long term because this federal matter isn't over. And doing 16 hours of community service for some fake, bogus, crooked organization in Chicago and surrendering a $10,000 bond ain't going to cut it there. And the hoax is going to reassert itself. We've got to get to the Green New Deal, speaking of hoaxes, but first, let's make a little money, honey, with Boll and Branch. Boll and Branch. Oh, you know, I've been on the road a lot over the last few weeks, going to do campus speeches, and all I dream about when I'm able to fall asleep on the road is just getting back to my Boll and Branch sheets. Oh, how I love them. They feel so much better than everything that I had slept on for my previous bachelor days. You don't need to take sleeping pills. You don't need, if you want a good night's sleep, you just need to change your sheets. That's why you should check out Boll and Branch. Everything they make from bedding to blankets is made from pure 100% organic cotton, which means they start out super soft and they get even softer over time. You can buy directly from them, so you're essentially paying wholesale prices. Luxury sheets can cost up to $1,000 in the store, but Boll and Branch sheets, just a couple $100. Everyone who tries Boll and Branch sheets loves them. That's why they have thousands of 5-star reviews. Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Fast Company are all talking about them. Even 3 U.S. presidents sleep on Boll and Branch sheets. Shipping is free. You can try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a refund. But I doubt that you'll want to send them back. There's no risk, no reason not to give them a try. Right now, my listeners will get $50 off your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com, promo code Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. Do it. You will not regret it. These things are fabulous. bollandbranch.com for $50 off your first set of sheets. B-O-L-L and branch.com, promo code Michael. bollandbranch.com, promo code Michael. We got another hoax. Not just Jussie Smollett. We've got the Green New Deal hoax. So, you know, Cocaine Mitch, master of the Senate, comes back and schedules a vote for the Green New Deal yesterday. He schedules this vote, and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, wrote the draft legislation. All of the Democrats in the Senate who are running for president didn't just endorse it. They co-sponsored that legislation. They co-sponsored this Green New Deal. So Mitch McConnell said, okay, let's vote on it. You're all co-sponsoring it. Let's vote on the Green New Deal. And they went nuts. Do you know how many Democrats voted for it? 0. 0 Democrats vote. Now, they couldn't vote no on it either, because then they would be totally exposed as hypocrites and frauds. So instead, what they did, at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's encouragement, is they voted present. They didn't vote for the legislation that she wrote and they all co-sponsored. Here is Mazie Hirono, senator from Hawaii, senatrix from Hawaii, on the Judiciary Committee, trying to explain this bewildering action to MSNBC.
On the Green New Deal, there was a procedural motion today. Why did so many Democrats vote present on it instead of voting yes for it?
Because this was just a sham so-called debate by Mitch McConnell. He wanted to divide the Democrats. And the bottom line is that the Green New Deal is an aspirational document that says we recognize the science behind climate change, unlike Trump and the Republicans and all of the climate deniers who want to stick their heads in the sand.
Well, and this and that, and look, is that a butterfly? And hey, look over there, right? It's just a Mazie Hirono-shaped hole in the wall. She's trying to change the subject so much. Just to clear up, though, which she said, is she was supposed to answer the question, why did you not vote for this? What happened yesterday in the Senate was there was a vote for the legislation. And Mazie Hirono said, this is a sham. This is not a debate. Right, it's not a debate. That lady on MSNBC didn't ask you about a debate because there wasn't a debate yesterday. It was a vote. Why do you want a debate? The reason that you have a debate, AOC said this too. She said there were no committees, there were no debates. The reason you would have a debate is if someone proposes legislation and then someone objects to voting on that legislation. You need the objection there to have the debate. It would be like me saying, I go up to the candy shop and I say, okay, I want a piece of fudge, I want a piece of taffy, and I want a bar of chocolate. And the person says, okay, here you go. I say, what, you're not even going to debate me? No, sir, you asked for those things and now I'm giving them to you. Yeah, but you're not even going to have a committee to debate? Come on, that's a sham. Sir, you asked me very explicitly for something. You told me exactly what you wanted and now I'm offering it to you. Why won't you take it? Because I want a debate. And a committee. That's the obviously that's the sham. This was Mitch McConnell's brilliance. Because of course, for so much in the Senate, you know, one side wants something, the other side says, no, I won't give you that, and then they get into a negotiation and they try to come to some compromise. But on this, the Green New Deal is so absurd on its face, it's so impossible. $93 trillion, destroys every building in the entire country within 10 years and then rebuilds all of them, eliminates 88% of the American energy industry, gets rid of planes, trains, and automobiles, totally upends, gets rid of most of our political liberty, institutes socialized medicine 100%, institutes a universal basic income. It's all of these crazy things. It's such a joke that the Democrats propose it. They co-sponsor it. They say, we're in 100%. And then Mitch McConnell says, cool. Aren't you going to debate me? Nope. No, let's just vote on it. But we need committees. No, we don't. No, you made your case. We will not oppose what you're doing. We won't call for a debate. There you go. You're the dog that caught the car. You going to vote for it? And then they don't, because they don't mean it, because they're hoaxers. So now Mazie Hirono has to answer for the indefensible, and she just tries to change the subject.
And make believe that climate change is not happening, and all of the growing number of natural disasters that are taking people's lives and costing our cities, our businesses, our people billions of dollars, which, by the way, even as we speak, we are going to be dealing with the disaster relief package because of all of these many disasters, natural disasters that are hitting us more frequently and with greater impact.
Okay, so your thesis is we're having all of these natural disasters that are happening really frequently. We'll examine whether that's true or not in a little bit. And all of these natural disasters are being caused by global warming. We'll examine that in a little bit. But okay, those are your premises. And therefore, we're not going to vote to stop global warming. That's it. Everything's going horribly because of global warming. Therefore, we're not going to vote to stop global warming. And then she starts talking about a disaster relief package, which is a different piece of legislation. But we're not asking you about that piece of legislation. We're asking you about the central piece of legislation that all of you guys are co-sponsoring that you then didn't vote for. Very difficult to defend that. The other point she's making here, though, is she's saying we're having all of these natural disasters because of climate change. Now, it's so funny because when Amy Klobuchar goes out and announces her presidential campaign, and she says the central pillar of my campaign is going to be global warming and fighting global warming, and she's standing in 5 feet of snow, and she's got snow pouring down all over her head, and then Donald Trump points out, he says, it's kind of funny to be talking about global warming while you're covered up to your head in snow. What does the left say? The left says, but weather isn't climate. You can't point to weather events and say that they're evidence of climate change or not evidence of climate change. Okay. All right. Okay. I accept that premise. Except you only do that when it's convenient for you. The minute that you can point to some disaster, you say that was caused by global warming. Amy Klobuchar getting covered in snow while she's declaring her that's not global warming, but that is global warming. Everything that's convenient for me is global warming, and everything that's inconvenient for me is not global warming. Weather is not climate except when it's convenient for Democrats. And then, honestly, MSNBC is being honest for a little bit. I never use the words honestly and MSNBC in the same sentence, but they are being slightly honest here. They are pushing her. They're saying, why wouldn't you vote for it, though? And she stammers and stammers.
But isn't that an argument that you just made to vote yes for it? I mean, McConnell may be trying to make it a show vote, but if you signed on to this, you're one of the co-authors of it. Yes. If you believe that this is something that, even if it's aspirational, that needs to get done, why not take a stand and vote yes for it? And here's what the Democrats stand for. We don't care that it's a show vote. It seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at?
He's really good at offering to let everyone vote on the thing that you guys wrote and co-sponsored. That's this is like what happens. I mean, good on her. Good on this MSNBC lady for actually trying to be somewhat honest and consistent here. And obviously, Mazie Hirono has no answer to that. But this is like when you say, I was in Michigan the other day, and I was talking to some of the protesters at Ben's speech, and they were all talking about how we have to all accept transgenderist ideology. And I said, okay, but don't you think that this creates a problem because it ultimately erases the category of women? If men can be women and men can define femininity and men can be the arbiters of what is or what is not womanhood, then don't you diminish, if not outright eliminate, women's agency. And they said, yeah, that's a bad faith question. You're not arguing in good faith. That's a gotcha question. I said, I'm asking a perfectly logical question that follows from your premises. What else could I say that you would say is in good faith? Here we have a clearer example of this in the Senate. They all say, we want to vote on this. We want to vote. We want to co-sponsor this. We wrote this. And Mitch McConnell says, okay. And they say, these are dirty tricks. What, the dirty tricks of letting you do what you say you want to do? That's a dirty trick? Then who's the dirty trickster? You are. She then goes on. You have to hear the end of this. You have to hear and then you've got to hear the pièce de la résistance, the best part of yesterday, which is that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had to argue against her own legislation. But first, we've got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. Go over to dailywire.com, $10 a month, $100 for an annual membership. You get me, you get the Andrew Klavan Show, you get the Ben Shapiro Show. You get to ask questions in the mailbag, coming up tomorrow, get them in. You get to ask questions backstage, coming up tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Our next episode of Daily Wire Backstage, Daily Wire God King Jeremy Boring, little old me, Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan will be sipping whiskey, smoking stogies, and laughing our way through politics and pop culture. As always, only Daily Wire subscribers get to ask the questions, so make sure to subscribe today because, of course, you get this. And you talk about extreme weather events that keep happening because of global warming. I think the extreme weather events are happening because of the total breakdown of the leftist narrative, and that's why you're seeing waves and waves of salty tsunamis. The only way to survive them is to get your leftist tears tumbler. Go to dailywire.com. We'll be back with a lot more.